Okay, good afternoon. Good afternoon. My name is Rick Marini, and I'm the founder and managing partner of Protocol Ventures. We are a fund of funds in the crypto hedge fund space. I've been investing in the space for about 4 years, both as a direct investor and also in several funds, and been building strong relationships with what I believe are the best fund managers in the space. Our goal is to identify and invest in the top 10 fund managers. What we're looking at are performance, the quality of the fund manager, and we'll talk about that in just a minute, and also trying to bring together complementary fund strategies. I don't want to just invest in the same 10 with the same strategy. I'm trying to bring diversification through one LP investment. We back hedge funds that are on the coin side, not the company side. What I mean there is on the liquidity side. So these are hedge funds that are investing in the tokens and in liquid ICOs, not on the equity side that tends to have a 10-year horizon. We've got much more liquidity than that. So again, trying to bring a kind of a single access point, one LP investment coming into the fund and getting immediate diversification. So my background, so again, been investing in the space for the last 4 years. I've been in Silicon Valley for 20 years. I founded 3 companies, raised $58 million for those 3. Fortunately, had 3 successful exits. I've also been an active angel in about 50 companies like Snapchat and Reddit and AngelList and more. So I've been a founder, I've been a CEO, I've been a CFO, education, Harvard MBA, 99, and then UNH undergrad, originally from New Hampshire. So we're all here because we know the opportunity in blockchain and crypto is enormous. Blockchain technology will likely create trillions of dollars of economic value around the globe in the next decade. Blockchain is going to disrupt countless industries. We talked about some of that downstairs in the presentations. Everything from the finance side with banking, cross-border, on the housing side with titles and mortgages, and even identity management. So whether that's applied to healthcare or voting. Valuations are skyrocketing, right? So obviously everyone is looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum having huge years. And also ICOs are driving a lot of investor interest. Now there's been over 200 ICOs this year. They've raised over $3 billion. And let me be clear about ICOs. I think 98% of them are complete garbage. Very much like the venture world where there could be 100 entrepreneurs that think they should get investment. The VCs might invest in 2% of those. The problem is right now 98% of those are getting invested by mom and pop. And my guess in 2018 is that the regulators will come in at some point and clear that garbage out. But 2% of them are real. Ethereum, a $45 billion market cap, was an ICO. Civic's an ICO, and other great companies. So the ICO market is important, but let's just be clear. The hedge fund managers that I invest in are looking at that 2%, not the other 98% garbage. And then what's interesting and why we're all here is that the market has grown in such a big way in 2017. So if you look at the aggregate market cap of crypto on Jan 1, we were at about 17 billion. Today we all know we're at 300 billion. So you're looking at a 16x increase, 1600% increase year to date. That compared to the S&P, which is up, call it 15 or 16%. Great year in the S&P, huge year in the S&P, but 2 orders of magnitude less than what's happened in crypto this year. So it's obviously an asset class that's getting a lot of attention and one that investors should have an allocation into. So what happened that drove a lot of that increase, that 16x increase? Well, it's Bitcoin and Ethereum. So Bitcoin on Jan 1 was about 1,000 per Bitcoin. Today we're approaching 10,000. That means Bitcoin is up, these are a week old. Bitcoin is now up more like 10x with a market cap of about 160 billion. So if you were in Bitcoin this year, you are very, very happy. But we all know Ethereum was really the big mover. Ethereum on Jan 1 was $8. Today it's close to 500. So we're looking at a 50x increase with liquidity with Ethereum, and now a 45 billion market cap. So why should you care as investors? I'm sure some of you are investors in the room. Why is crypto really interesting? Number one, it's a new investable asset class. For a lot of investors, family offices, high net worth individuals, you're in stocks and bonds and PE and VC and real estate and so on. Crypto represents a whole new asset class for you. It's uncorrelated. So if you were downstairs and you heard Chris from Placeholder talk about uncorrelated with any other asset class. Value creation at massive scale. I mean, the market is up 16x in a year. Significant capital entering the market. I think this is a really important one. So you heard from Mike Novogratz downstairs. Mike is launching a $500 million fund, right? So he's one of many Wall Street folks coming into the market in 2018. When you have limited supply, we all know Bitcoin will only have 21 million Bitcoin ever mined. We're at probably 17 million or so now. You've got limited supply and you have a huge influx of demand. Prices can only go one way. So I think 2018 will continue to be a big year for crypto. These are nascent markets, but they have liquidity. So unlike venture or private equity that typically has a 10-year time horizon with no liquidity, crypto never sleeps. It trades 168 hours a week. So you've got real liquidity every hour of the day. And then the last point I think is a really important one, which is the informational asymmetry right now. So I was at another crypto conference in mid-September in San Francisco, where I'm from. And it was a day that China came out with yet more information about regulating ICOs. And as I talked to hedge fund managers that day, thinking that people would be freaking out, they were relieved. And the reason for that is because they knew this information was coming out a week ahead of time. Okay, a week ahead of time, they were selling their Bitcoin at 4,000. That's the day that Bitcoin dropped by 25% in a day, which is a big deal. And they were just buying as much as they could at 3,000. Okay, Bitcoin today is about 10,000. So they not only protected their downside from 4 to 3, they tripled their money in 2 months. In 2 months because they had better information, right? So these are the hedge fund managers that I'm investing in that have that better information. And it's also crazy if you think about Wall Street, high frequency trading on milliseconds difference of a top hedge fund manager versus another. This is a week ahead of time these hedge fund managers have that information. So crypto to me represents, it's a rare opportunity. And I think this was also said downstairs, which, I started my career in the mid-90s, right around when Marc Andreessen had launched Mosaic. And for those of you that were around then, we knew the internet was going to change the world. We didn't know how. We didn't know we'd live our lives on cell phones 20 years later. But we knew something big was happening. And I feel like we're back where we were in 1995, and that's a good thing. I think we're in like the top of the second inning. We're not in spring training, like we have a real industry that's worth 300 billion, but we have a long way to go still, which is wonderful. I mean, crypto only represents about 2% of the market of the total value of gold. I mean, we still have a long way to go, but this is one of those moments in time that I haven't felt in 20 years. And that's how I felt the early days of the internet, where we are with crypto today. So that all sounds great and exciting and sexy, but there are problems with crypto. It's hard to get started, right? So I got my father-in-law a Coinbase account a couple days ago over Thanksgiving, and he could only put 5,000 in. Like, that's not super interesting, right? You can't just call your broker at Fidelity or Schwab and say, buy Microsoft, buy Bitcoin. It's not easy right now to do that. So you want to have people that have great judgment. These are volatile markets. You need people that have great experience, that have domain expertise, and have informational advantages that I talked about. Also, concentration risk. It's not just about having Bitcoin and being done, right? From 2013 to 2016, Bitcoin represented 80 to 90% of the market cap. Today, Bitcoin's about 53% of the market cap. Ethereum has taken on about 20% of the market cap. So you can't just say, I'm going to buy Bitcoin and I'm done, or I'm going to buy one fund and have one strategy and be done, especially now that there's 130 crypto hedge funds out there. 100 of them launched in 2017. There's 130. There's probably after today, there's 140. It's really, really hard to know who are the winners, right? It's really difficult. And even if you're trying to enter the space, can you really go interview 130? And by the way, can you tell the winners from the scammers? So that's what we do at Protocol Ventures. Again, I've been investing in the space for 4 years. I've been building these relationships with the best crypto hedge fund managers. I'm targeting people who have deep industry experience, they exercise great judgment, and they've got years of trading crypto experience. Building a diverse portfolio with complementary strategies. We've got large funds like Metastable and Polychain that are in the portfolio. We have smaller emerging funds like Neural Capital and Block Tower that are in the portfolio, trying to bring together complementary fund strategies and size. Many of these funds, by the way, like Metastable or Polychain, have $1 million minimum. And I love those. Those are my two anchors in my fund. But it's $1 million minimum, and that doesn't work for everyone, especially if you can only, if you can only do $1 million investment, then you're stuck with one fund. I get you immediate diversification with a 500K investment. We also have better pricing in some cases. Block Tower, I love Ari. They're now 3 and 30. We're locked in forever at 2 and 20. And then the connective tissue part, I'm in the middle of this, so it's great to be able to get data and knowledge and deal flow for our LPs. Okay, so what do I look for in these fund managers? Looking for an asymmetric understanding of blockchain technology, and I'm looking for informational advantages. I'm looking for people that have a deep tech background. An example of that, one of the fund managers I was talking to the other day that we invested in was looking at an ICO. He went into the GitHub repository, and there was code checked in, but he went in there, and it was complete garbage. It was complete garbage because the ICO just checked something in just so somebody would do a checkbox. Yeah, there's some code in there. So I want people doing that level of diligence, not just reading a white paper. I like respected leaders in the space, guys like Naval, guys like Olaf, because they've got deep relationships and they also have the best deal flow. I also am looking more at Wall Street types. So Ari Paul from BlockTower has a background that is a bit more Wall Street than some of the other guys. And I like that because 2018 is going to mark a change in crypto, I believe. One where we heard from CME this morning, CBOT is coming in, and others. You're going to start to see derivative desks being created, the ability to short. And that's a different type of investor than we've had in the past, right? So I want to have that as part of our portfolio. And then I'm looking for a clear fund thesis, right? So again, I don't want to just invest in 10 funds that look alike. I'm trying to bring in some emerging managers like a Neural Capital, where they are an actively traded firm. And then we've got others like Metastable, that's a buy and hold, more of a Berkshire Hathaway model. So here's 2 sample investments that I was a personal LP in before I launched Protocol. We talked about Metastable. A lot of people know them. They know Naval and Josh and Lucas. Last year, they did a 230% return. This year, year to date, they're up over 8x now. So I love them. I love the stability. It's a volatile market, but I love their stability. Neural Capital, you may not have heard of yet, but 2 27-year-old guys racked up a 60x return over the past year with a big bet on Ethereum and Ripple and Stellar and some others. So I love to have that in the portfolio as well. So these were 2 that I was already doing personally. This is part of the reason I started Protocol, is because I realized within the space, I'm diversifying my own investments, having a high beta and high alpha drive in Neural Capital, but also having stability with Metastable. So we've got investments in Metastable and Polychain, Neural Capital, BlockTower. Vinny's been a longtime friend over at Civic. And just to summarize here, so I think blockchain technologies are going to represent one of the largest investment opportunities of a generation. I think Mike Novogratz said the same thing downstairs. I haven't seen something like this in 20 years. The space is about to explode with new money coming in. Wall Street is about to change the market in a big way. Over the Thanksgiving break, I was talking to a friend of mine who's a Wall Street type, and he was telling me about a $6 billion, with a B, $6 billion fund being created right now from one of the largest brokerage houses. $6 billion coming into crypto soon is going to move the market, right? It's a $300 billion market. So when you see things like that coming in, even Mike Novogratz at $500 million, there's a lot of new capital coming in, which is exciting. But this is a nascent space. It's still early. There's complex technology behind this. And I want to find those fund managers that have that asymmetric understanding of the space and informational advantages. So with 130 crypto funds, it's really hard to figure out who are those top 10. That's what I've been doing. I've been investing in these top 10, delivering diversification with outsized returns with one single LP investment. So if you're an investor that wants to get immediately diversified in these top 10 investments, or if you're a great fund, because we're obviously looking to continue to fund great fund managers, please come see me. Again, I'm Rick Marini. I'm the founder and managing partner of Protocol Ventures. Here's my email. Love to talk to you. And thank you for your time, and enjoy the conference. Thank you.